Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. This is going to be our daily cryptocurrency market update, and we are going to kick things off with a little bit of news, a little bit of tragic news in regards to another bridge hack, another Ethereum bridge hack. It is getting extremely frustrating for somebody that has been in this space for so long to consistently see the same areas continue to get attacked and exploited, and bridges are a huge issue. And we now have the Nomad bridge, which essentially has been drained for nearly $200 million in exploits. Now, I'm still getting information in regards to what's happened here. You guys know that I'm a huge fan of the Cardano ecosystem. There's quite a few of the Cardano tokens that have actually been affected as a result of this, and I will be doing a big in-depth video tonight, so watch out for that in regards to this, also explaining some of the products or protocols responses that are built on top of Cardano that have been affected by this. But it's the same thing continuously, and it's starting to really annoy me, because the definition of an idiot is when you continuously do the same thing and continue to get the same undesired result, but you don't realize that maybe it's what you're doing that you should try and change. You just blame the kind of outcome, and it seems to be that bridges, they've just not hacked them. They've just not sort of, pardon the pun there, cracked them yet. The people that are really benefiting from these bridges are the hackers more so than anybody, and it's really frustrating to see. But I will do an in-depth guide on that. We will be diving into a bit of news. It's still earnings season, ladies and gentlemen. We had Uber today, which actually had a big loss, but the stock price jumped. Or popped, as they call it, by 10%. So why is this? Why is it on good or on bad news that stocks go up? Well, it's because markets are forward-looking. People would have already priced this in. So when you're talking about markets, one reason it's never a good idea to trade off the news is because the people in the know the news way before you'll even, hear it. Let alone from a mate of yours, but even from the mainstream media. And they'll position accordingly, and you kind of have these areas where you look. You've been in consolidation here. You failed to go lower. Bad news is driving the stock price up. And Bitcoin as well, we know we had some serious bad news in regards to the economy, actually rallied as a result of this. So there's lots going on. The real question that we're trying to ask and answer right now is this just a relief rally, or is this the start of something more? In my opinion, this is still a relief rally. We do daily cryptocurrency market updates now, daily Bitcoin market updates now, where we look at indicators, and we kind of try and work out what's going on. For me, this is still very much an intact downtrend. There's nothing to suggest otherwise. Can Bitcoin rally higher? Yes, it absolutely can. Is it going to? I don't necessarily believe that, it's going to rally all the way back to 40k or anything like that. I think this rally will eventually come to a close. You are significantly overextended from your 30-day weekly average. Typically, I use the 30-day moving average when I'm looking at daily charts to really just show relative strength and weakness. Not really something that I trade specifically off of. But, we kind of reject off that 24k range. We're now back below 23k. Do we then reclaim 23k, get above it, and see that continuation back up to 24k? That's the big thing on my mind today, and we've covered that in an earlier video. The European Central Bank's bets on CBDCs over BTC for cross-border payments. So this is the real thing that you've got to ask yourself in regards to crypto right now, is they are moving towards CBDCs. We are going to have central bank digital currencies. This is going to really enhance their sort of controls and dominance over your financial, not just financial lifestyle, but lifestyle in general. How much of a threat are CBDCs to the likes of Bitcoin? Bitcoin's meant as an alternative currency system. CBDCs don't change the use for Bitcoin. In fact, they enhance it in regards to the fact that what Satoshi is really trying to do is go, okay, we want to move away from the corruption of the central banks and a constantly proliferated money supply that taxes everybody in the form of inflation. But this is something that we've got to really keep an eye on, is CBDCs and what are they going to put in place to favour CBDCs over the likes of Bitcoin and alternative currency systems. What still is constantly, and we constantly remind you of this, my opinion that blockchain is very much a technological revolution that's going to change the world. It already is doing that. And you can see that, I think in the future we're going to be using blockchain seamlessly, effortlessly. And it's going to be something we do, like we drive a car without even thinking about it, or on the internet right now, and so on and so forth. So we've still got the earnings. For some reason, I've got 2 lots of Uber up here. There was something else on CNBC that I wanted to show you to do with Nancy Pelosi essentially going over to Taiwan. Lots of people are looking at this as a risk event, very rightly, I think, because we've still got lots of sort of landmines around us that we're kind of trying to navigate at the moment, and this potentially could be one. But I'm not putting too much weight onto it. Really, for me, I'm more interested in sort of looking at what the price action is telling us. You know, there is definitely the scope for a higher rally here. You're in this kind of hot air zone above us, where we have seen a rejection from the 24K zone. Do we now start to push above it and start to sort of make our way back up towards the 30K mark? Potentially, but there's a lot that needs to happen. You know, we need to see that before we kind of speculate on it. How is the US stock market going to open today? Well, the futures are currently down. UK market isn't really doing a lot. The Asian market is largely down. You know, we'll see what this all means for the cryptocurrency market. And certainly the big thing, the frustrating thing for somebody that's trying to trade this market is I might as well just become an ES or an S&P trader or a US equity trader, because ultimately we're just following the S&P more than anything. You know, very, very correlated and tethered to it. It's frustrating because if you get good setups on Bitcoin, you know, you kind of almost have to validate them and incorporate the S&P into your Bitcoin daily analysis, which is certainly interesting. We've still got lots of earnings to come. We're still waiting on PayPal, Starbucks. We had Uber. We got Airbnb and a number of others. The Uber one was bad, but the price actually pumped on the back end of it. The reason that I brought this up and actually show you this is because it really goes to show a disconnect between the news and the price. You know, the tape tells all, to quote Stan Weinstein. And essentially what he's talking about there is the fact that you will see the news in the chart before the news is even revealed. You know, you can't trade based on news. You can't invest necessarily based on news because news is secondary. And, you know, unless you're going to break the rules of insider trading, you know, which I'm sure people do, you're never going to be the first to that news. It's very rare that you'll get a sort of good trade on a news-driven event. Because typically everybody's already taken the trade by the time the news came around. And this is why, you know, I thought Uber was a good one because we've been looking at, you know, why didn't Bitcoin sell off? Why didn't it sell off on the news of a high CPI print or a recession or the 75 basis points? Well, it's because a lot of this has already been priced in and people have already known about this. So they'll take the counter and then they'll kind of take the alternative side and go, okay, well, if we're in a recession, that means the Fed's close to pivoting. They're not going to do a 75 basis point rate hike again. Inflation is going to come down. You know, they're forward looking, but it's what they're not pricing in my opinion, that is going to cause this market to see that next leg of further downward continuation. So there's lots of things still to pay attention to, lots of things going on in the news. Again, we've got earnings season. Really, for me, I would like to see next week's Coinbase earnings. Coinbase has been getting absolutely smashed recently. Do they now turn around and kind of recover from this? Potentially. I don't think Coinbase or many of your big exchanges are going anywhere. You know, I do think that crypto is an industry that's here to stay, and if crypto is here to stay, it's logical that many of your cryptocurrency companies are going to stick around. And we know that we see, like BlackRock, JP Morgan, they're all getting involved in the crypto trading side of things and also the crypto custodial side of things. Good indication that, you know, this industry is not only going to survive but do very well once we have that liquidity switch back on by the Fed. The real thing here is look, there does come a point in time when the Fed pivot and go back to stimulating markets. The thing for me is people are they're acting like it's already here when in actual fact we've got more tightening to come. We've not even seen the effects of the most recent 75 basis point rate hike. This is all still down the line. It's all going to have, in my opinion, negative connotations for the markets generally. And these are all things you should pay attention to moving forwards. Ask yourself this question: does the reward far outweigh the risk right now to being involved in these markets? For me, the answer is no. For you, it may be yes. You know, and of course, that's how you should invest accordingly. So that's really all I've got for you in this video, guys. Again, if you've enjoyed this content, a like is always appreciated. So as a comment, let me know in the comment section if there's anything you guys want me to cover. We will be covering the Nomad bridge hack in a lot more detail, certainly as there's a few protocols that I've had on the show and stuff like that have been kind of affected by this, potentially negatively, and we'll kind of clear up some of the questions that you guys have in regards to it in the video later on today. All I've got for you in this video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, like as always, appreciate it as a comment. I'll catch you all in the next YouTube video. Thanks a lot for watching, guys.